Welcome to Train Your Mind to Never Give Up, an audiobook designed not just to inspire you for a moment, but to reconstruct how you think, act, and respond to challenge. Life doesn't reward the talented. It rewards the disciplined. And this is your invitation to build a mind that never surrenders when the world tests your patience. The truth is, every person you admire, every champion, every artist, every survivor learned how to train their mind before they conquered anything else. They learned that victory starts not with muscle, but with mindset, not with noise, but with focus. This audiobook will show you how to build that same inner power, the ability to stay grounded when everything feels like it's falling apart. It's not about pretending life is easy. It's about becoming so strong that difficulty doesn't decide your direction anymore. Before we begin, I want you to understand something powerful. This isn't entertainment, it's transformation, and it will work only if you commit fully. If you're listening right now, it's because something inside you is hungry for growth, tired of giving up, and ready to rise. So take a deep breath, straighten your posture, and tell yourself, I am stronger than my struggle, and I am not done yet. As we move forward, remember to subscribe, like, and share this journey with someone who needs it, because power grows when it's shared. Now, let's begin the process of turning your mind into your greatest ally, your most loyal weapon, and your lifelong source of strength. Every great transformation begins in silence, in those unseen hours where the mind learns to fight without applause. The reason most people never win is not because they're weak, but because they surrender at the first sign of discomfort. Quitting has become a reflex in a world addicted to instant gratification, but persistence, real persistence, is the trait that separates legends from the rest. This audiobook is your training ground, a mental gym where every word is a weight you lift, every reflection a repetition you repeat. You will learn how to replace doubt with determination, fear with focus, and hesitation with habit. The goal is not perfection, but progress. Not speed, but stamina. We'll learn to see challenges as invitations to evolve, not obstacles to avoid. You will understand that pressure is not punishment. It is proof that you're being prepared for more. The greatest minds in history did not escape struggle. They embraced it, and through that pain, they forged clarity, conviction, and courage. Your time to train begins now, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, but right here, in the space between where you are and who you could be. If you want to train your mind, you must first unlearn what weakness has taught you. Society tells you to seek comfort, to avoid failure, to play safe. But every time you obey that message, your potential shrinks. Growth does not come from ease. It comes from endurance, and the longer you stand inside discomfort, the stronger you become. This book will teach you to love the process of becoming resilient, to find beauty in discipline, and to see resistance as a form of respect from the universe. Life challenges you not to break you, but to build you into someone worthy of your destiny. You don't find mental strength by reading words. You build it by living them, again and again, until strength becomes your default setting. That's why this audiobook is designed to rewire your thinking pattern by repetition and visualization. Every chapter you hear is an exercise, every concept a mental rep, every reflection a seed planted in your subconscious. With enough repetition, these lessons will stop being ideas and start being instincts. That's when transformation begins, when what once felt impossible becomes automatic. And let me tell you something most people forget. Your mind is not your enemy. It's your greatest resource, but it listens only to the voice you use most often. If you speak with doubt, it becomes hesitant. If you speak with conviction, it becomes unstoppable. Training your mind means mastering your inner dialogue, transforming those quiet moments of fear into fuel. It means speaking faith, louder than failure, vision louder than victimhood, and purpose louder than pain. Every successful person has one secret in common. They learned to control their thoughts before their thoughts controlled them. That's why this journey matters, because when you master your mind, you master your life. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating them with sheer willpower. Stop reacting to circumstances and start commanding them through clarity. You stop chasing motivation and start cultivating momentum. The mind you train today will be the strength that saves you tomorrow. So before we move into the lessons, pause and make a quiet commitment to yourself, not a casual one, but a promise carved into your heart. Promise that you won't stop halfway, even when you feel tired or tempted to quit. Promise that you'll finish this audiobook and apply it daily until your habits match your highest goals. This journey isn't about hype. It's about rewiring your character through conscious repetition. You're going to fall, fail, doubt, and question yourself, but those are not signs to stop. They are signs you're finally doing it right. Every moment of struggle means you're pushing limits that were never meant to stay in place. Keep going until the process feels natural, until your resilience feels effortless, until your focus feels permanent. That's how transformation works, slowly, painfully, beautifully. So let's begin this journey together, with courage in your heart and discipline in your mind, as we step into the first stage of your mental evolution, the power of mental training. Chapter 1: The Power of Mental Training. Your mind is the foundation of everything you will ever achieve, yet most people treat it like an afterthought instead of the command center it truly is. Every decision, every emotion, every reaction begins first as a thought, and the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. Training your mind is not about thinking positive. It's about thinking powerfully, intentionally, and strategically, every single day. The most successful people you'll ever meet didn't just stumble into greatness. They built it word by word, thought by thought, belief by belief. They learned to reprogram their mental software to process failure as feedback, to turn anxiety into awareness, and to view obstacles as opportunities for adaptation. When your mind becomes trained, your reactions slow down, your clarity sharpens, and your resilience multiplies. A trained mind can endure storms that would shatter an undisciplined one, because it no longer takes everything personally, it takes everything purposefully. Your greatest weapon is not your strength, your money, or your talent, but your ability to remain calm and focused when chaos surrounds you. Every time you resist the urge to panic, you sharpen your edge. Every time you choose progress over comfort, you harden your resolve. The mind is not something you are born with. It's something you build, day by day, through challenge, repetition, and choice. The first rule of mental training is awareness, because you can't change what you don't notice. Most people run on mental autopilot, living the same day 1,000 times and calling it a life. They react to emotions instead of managing them, letting frustration, envy, and fear dictate their decisions. To train your mind, you must first observe it. See how it behaves when stressed, how it talks to you when you fail, how it tries to escape discomfort. That awareness is your mirror, and what you see there might be uncomfortable, but truth always precedes transformation. Once you know the patterns, you can begin to rewire them. Replace the habit of overthinking with the habit of acting. Replace the habit of complaining with the habit of creating. Replace the habit of running from hard things with the habit of confronting them. Awareness turns into control, and control turns into confidence. The more conscious you become of your mental patterns, the less they control you. And that's the first true victory of training your mind. The second rule is repetition, because the brain learns through consistent exposure. You can't think a powerful thought once and expect it to stick. You must repeat it until it becomes part of your identity. This is where affirmations, visualizations, and daily habits come into play, not as cliches, but as tools of neurological rewiring. Every time you visualize success instead of failure, you're teaching your mind what to expect. Every time you affirm strength instead of fear, you're reinforcing a new belief system. The brain doesn't distinguish between imagined and real experiences. It simply follows the instructions you give it most often. That's why discipline matters more than emotion, because repetition rewires reality. If you tell yourself you are strong, capable, and determined every day, eventually your mind stops arguing and starts obeying. Repetition creates identity, and identity dictates action. Train your mind to expect consistency from you, and it will respond with clarity when life tests your resolve. The third rule of mental training is endurance, the ability to keep your focus sharp even when fatigue sets in. It's easy to stay positive on good days. The real test begins when progress slows and doubt creeps in. Endurance is built through resistance, and resistance is not your enemy, it's your gym. Every delay, every failure, every rejection is a mental workout designed to strengthen your emotional stamina. The more you endure without breaking, the more your mind adapts to pressure. That's why the strongest people are not those who never fall, but those who rise faster each time they do. A weak mind interprets obstacles as stop signs. A strong mind sees them as detours. The moment you understand that pain is a process, not a punishment, you stop wasting energy on self-pity and start investing it into self-improvement. Endurance means trusting that what hurts today will harden you tomorrow. When you can hold steady under chaos, you've crossed from fragile to fearless, and that's when mastery begins. The final rule is reflection, because unexamined progress eventually becomes repetition without meaning. Every night, take a moment to review your day, not with guilt, but with curiosity. Ask yourself, where did I stay strong, and where did I let distraction win? What thoughts lifted me, and which ones limited me? Reflection turns experience into education, turning ordinary days into extraordinary lessons. It helps you refine your strategy and adjust your direction without losing momentum. The mind you train through reflection becomes adaptable. It learns from every failure, celebrates every victory, and evolves faster with every lesson. When you practice reflection consistently, you no longer fear mistakes because they stop being threats and start being teachers. The more you reflect, the more aligned your decisions become with your vision. A trained mind is not a perfect one, it's a practiced one. The process never ends because mastery is maintenance. You don't train your mind once and stop. You train it every day for the rest of your life until resilience becomes reflex and focus becomes your second nature. Chapter 2. Turning pain into power. Pain is not the villain we think it is. Pain is the teacher that shows up when comfort has nothing left to teach. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has met pain in some form. Heartbreak, failure, rejection, loss, exhaustion. And instead of running from it, they listen to its message. Pain is life's language of growth. It whispers lessons that success often forgets to mention. The authors of Strength, the Builders of Resilience, understand that comfort kills progress faster than failure ever will. When everything feels easy, the mind softens, but when struggle arrives, the mind sharpens like steel under fire. You can train your mind only through exposure to adversity, because resilience is not learned from books, it's earned through battles. Pain breaks the ego first, then rebuilds the soul, stronger than before. It strips away the illusion that you control everything, teaching you humility and adaptability instead. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt has the potential to become power if you refuse to waste it on self-pity. The secret is to stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to make of me?" Pain is a sculptor. It carves away the weakness you cling to, revealing the strength you forgot you had. Those who fear pain remain stuck. Those who embrace it evolve. When pain arrives, your first instinct will always be to escape it, but escape is a trap that delays transformation. The human mind is designed to avoid discomfort because it associates pain with danger. But growth requires teaching the brain a new interpretation. You must learn to say, "This hurts, but this is progress." And in that moment, you begin to take control of your evolution. Every time you face adversity and stay calm, you're rewiring your nervous system to handle more of life without collapsing. The authors call this process emotional conditioning, training your feelings to serve your focus instead of sabotaging it. You become the calm in your own storm, the eye of chaos, where clarity lives. You stop being defined by what happens to you and start being defined by how you respond to it. The difference between the broken and the unbreakable is not luck, it's response. The same event that destroys one person can transform another, depending on how they process it. The untrained mind sees pain as punishment. The trained mind sees it as preparation. Every hardship is an initiation, a test that asks, can you stay loyal to your vision even when it hurts? The stronger your answer, the stronger your spirit becomes. The moment you stop fearing pain, you unlock your superpower, freedom. Most people live trapped inside avoidance, chasing comfort like it's salvation, yet finding emptiness in its arms. Comfort dulls the mind, pain awakens it. Every difficulty you endure expands your capacity for greatness because strength is not found in what you can control, but in how you carry what you can't. Pain forces you to meet the version of yourself that comfort keeps hidden, the warrior, the creator, the survivor. It teaches you that you don't need perfect conditions to move forward. You just need commitment to continue. When you use pain as fuel instead of fear, you turn every setback into a stepping stone. Same fire that burns can also forge if you stay inside it long enough. You begin to see patterns others miss, opportunities others fear, and lessons others avoid. That's why pain is powerful, because it wakes you up to who you really are. The day you stop running from pain is the day you start running toward purpose. But the power of pain doesn't appear automatically, it requires meaning. Pain without purpose becomes suffering. Pain with purpose becomes transformation. You must assign meaning to your struggles. Otherwise, they'll consume you instead of complete you. When you can say, this hardship is building my character, teaching me patience, deepening my empathy, then suddenly the pain becomes bearable, even sacred. The greatest strength comes not from avoiding wounds, but from healing them consciously. When you look back, you'll realize that the moments that hurt you most are the same moments that defined your strength, clarity, and courage. Pain becomes power when it stops being a memory and starts being a mission. The authors remind us that pain is not random. It's often the universe's way of pruning distractions and preparing you for destiny. You may not see it now, but every struggle is a rehearsal for a greater role in your own story. Pain is the tuition you pay for wisdom, and wisdom is the reward you earn for endurance. Those who embrace it graduate from victimhood into victory. Finally, understand this. You cannot grow if you keep protecting yourself from every challenge that threatens your peace. The peace you cling to is not always progress. Sometimes it's a prison disguised as comfort. The mind that never struggles never strengthens, and the soul that never bends never learns to stand tall. The purpose of life is not to avoid pain but to master it, to learn how to extract strength from struggle, the way fire releases gold from stone. Every challenge is a classroom, and pain is the teacher that never lets you skip the lesson. It doesn't care if you cry, resist, or complain, it will keep repeating itself until you grow. The quicker you accept this truth, the faster you evolve beyond the limits that once defined you. Pain trains humility, patience, and perseverance, the holy trinity of growth. And when you finally stop fighting it, something miraculous happens. Your pain becomes your peace, your struggle becomes your strength, and your scars become your story. The mind trained by pain no longer asks for easy days. It asks for the strength to handle any day. Chapter 3. The Discipline of Consistency. Consistency is the bridge between goals and greatness, between dreams and destiny, between who you are and who you can become. It is not glamorous, it is not easy, and it is not instant, but it is the single habit that guarantees transformation. The authors remind us that motivation may start the fire, but only consistency keeps it burning through the long, cold nights of doubt. Everyone can be excited for a week. Only the disciplined stay devoted for a lifetime. To train your mind to never give up, you must first train it to keep showing up. Each day you commit, you build a quiet reputation with yourself, and that internal trust becomes the foundation of confidence. A consistent person doesn't need to announce their progress. They simply prove it through presence. Discipline is love expressed as action. It is the ability to do what you said you would do long after the mood has left you. The authors say that consistency is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. The small, boring actions you repeat every day will one day create results so big that even you will be surprised. The mind learns through repetition, and consistency is simply repetition with direction. The more you show up for yourself, the more your mind learns that quitting is no longer an option. Consistency is built through structure, not spontaneity. The untrained mind waits for the perfect moment to begin, while the disciplined mind creates the moment through commitment. You can't rely on emotion to build something eternal. Emotions are waves, and waves never hold shape for long. That's why structure is sacred. It gives your days form, rhythm, and meaning. You don't rise by accident. You rise by alignment, by scheduling your success into existence. The authors insist that routines are not chains, they are wings. A routine frees you from chaos and gives your mind a home to focus in. Consistency is not a prison. It is preparation. When your day has order, your mind has peace, and from that peace comes power. Those who train daily understand that discipline doesn't remove freedom, it expands it. Because when you master your time, you master your life. Consistency is simply your dreams, divided into daily decisions. Each day you choose focus over distraction. You build the architecture of greatness brick by brick. But consistency is not built in ease, it's built in resistance. It's easy to be consistent when results come quickly. It's hard to persist when progress moves in silence. Yet that's exactly when champions are born, in the unseen hours, in the quiet repetition that no one applauds. The authors remind you that growth doesn't announce itself. It accumulates. The results you crave are forming beneath the surface, just waiting for your consistency to catch up. The days you feel like quitting are often the days right before the breakthrough. The secret to success is deceptively simple. Stay when others stop. Every single act of persistence rewires your brain to trust your strength. Every time you push through boredom, fatigue, or frustration, you tell your mind, "We finish what we start." You can't build confidence through avoidance. You build it through endurance. When you stay consistent, your failures become lessons, your pain becomes process, and your process becomes power. Consistency doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence, and presence is what turns effort into excellence. The mind rebels against consistency because it craves novelty, but repetition is the language of mastery. The authors say that genius is simply obsession channeled through structure. The pianist who practices scales daily, the writer who writes through writer's block, the athlete who trains when no one is watching, they all share the same secret: consistency without applause. When you practice long enough, repetition becomes rhythm, and rhythm becomes flow. You start to move without overthinking, perform without pressure, and execute without fear. That's the magic consistency brings. It transforms struggle into muscle memory. Every morning you rise early. Every night you choose discipline over distraction. Every moment you do what others avoid. Those repetitions stack into power. You stop needing willpower because the work becomes automatic. The brain begins to associate discomfort with growth instead of pain. And once that shift happens, success becomes inevitable. Consistency is not what you do. It's who you become. Finally, understand that consistency is not a straight line. It's a dance between persistence and patience. There will be days you fall short, moments you lose rhythm, and seasons where progress feels invisible. But even then, the rule remains the same: return to the work. The authors emphasize that consistency forgives mistakes, but never excuses surrender. If you fall 7 times, stand up 8, and the world will remember you for the one time you refuse to stay down. Success is built in tiny repetitions that seem meaningless in the moment, but monumental in hindsight. You may not see the change each day, but consistency sees you. Every action adds up. Every disciplined choice compounds. The person you are becoming is being sculpted by the habits you keep when no one's watching. Difference between the average and the extraordinary is not talent. It's tolerance for repetition. So stay steady, stay patient, and stay faithful to the process. Because consistency in the end is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results. Chapter 4: Silence, Focus, and the Power of Belief. Each of the following 5 paragraphs contains 12 long, expressive sentences written for audiobook performance, rhythmic, emotional, and immersive. Underscore: silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of clarity. In a world addicted to noise, silence has become the new luxury, the rare space where truth can finally be heard. The authors teach that your mind cannot focus if it never rests, and it cannot create if it never listens. Every great idea, every moment of peace, every spark of confidence begins in quiet reflection. The noise of the world keeps you distracted, chasing every sound except the one that matters most, the voice inside. To train your mind to never give up, you must first learn to hear that voice again. Sit in stillness, even when it feels uncomfortable, and you will begin to notice the layers of thought that cloud your purpose. The first few minutes will feel chaotic, because the untrained mind hates silence. It hides behind distraction. But with patience, the storm settles, and what remains is truth. Silence reveals what you truly need and exposes what you've been avoiding. It is in that space where you meet yourself, raw, real, unfiltered. Every person who has mastered their destiny first mastered the art of sitting alone in silence until focus returned. Focus is the ability to direct your energy deliberately instead of scattering it randomly. Most people fail not because they lack ambition, but because they waste energy on too many directions at once. The mind cannot build momentum when it keeps switching lanes, and every distraction is a tax on your purpose. The authors remind us that focus is not intensity. It's intention. You don't need to do more. You need to do what matters most with your whole heart. When you focus, the noise fades and clarity takes command. You stop reacting to life and start designing it consciously. Focus gives your discipline direction and your actions meaning. Without focus, effort becomes exhaustion. With focus, effort becomes evolution. The brain thrives on simplicity, and when you stop multitasking, you multiply results. Every unfinished goal is not a failure of ability, it's a failure of focus. The mind trained to focus can achieve in a year what others chase for a decade, because focus compresses time. The authors say belief is the invisible fuel that sustains focus when effort feels heavy. Without belief, discipline becomes mechanical. With belief, it becomes magnetic. Belief is not blind optimism, it's emotional alignment with possibility. When you truly believe you can, your mind starts building pathways to make it happen. Every act of faith reprograms your subconscious to support your vision instead of sabotaging it. That's why you must protect your beliefs like treasures. They are the architecture of your destiny. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever could, and the most dangerous voice in the world is the one inside that says, "Maybe you can't." The authors remind you that your mind is loyal. It will follow the story you repeat most often. If you repeat weakness, you'll see walls. If you repeat strength, you'll see doors. Your beliefs are blueprints, and your life will always build according to them. Belief is what keeps your eyes open when the world closes its doors. A mind trained to believe becomes unstoppable because it has learned that limits are illusions designed to test courage. Stillness, focus, and belief form a triangle of power that no challenge can break. Silence gives you direction, focus gives you movement, and belief gives you endurance. When these three forces align, you become untouchable. The authors teach that focus without belief burns out, belief without silence gets lost, and silence without focus becomes stagnation. You need all three working together to build a mind that thrives under pressure. Every day, give yourself time to disconnect from noise, reconnect to your goals, and realign your energy. Success is not built through chaos. It's built through calm precision repeated consistently. The most productive people in the world aren't the busiest, they're the clearest. They move deliberately, think deeply, and act decisively. Focus turns dreams into deadlines and ideas into outcomes. The mind that believes while staying still enough to think and steady enough to act can turn any vision into victory. Finally, the authors remind us that belief is both a practice and a promise. You must train it like a muscle, feed it with positive proof, strengthen it with daily evidence, and protect it from the corrosion of fear. Every time you finish what you start, belief grows. Every time you rise after failing, belief deepens. And every time you dare to try again, belief matures into conviction. You don't need the world to believe in you. You just need to believe in yourself long enough for results to make the noise. The truth is, no one can focus for you, no one can believe for you, and no one can silence the chaos for you. These are inner battles that must be won privately before victories ever appear publicly. The mind you train in solitude will carry you through storms in public. Stay still enough to listen, focused enough to execute, and faithful enough to persist. When you master silence, focus, and belief, quitting no longer feels like an option. It feels like a foreign language you no longer speak. Chapter 5. The Unbreakable Mind. An unbreakable mind is not one that never feels pain. It's one that never lets pain define its limits. The authors remind us that strength isn't about avoiding storms, but learning to walk through them without losing your direction. Every challenge, every rejection, every heartbreak is a test of endurance that asks, will you stop now or will you rise again? The unbreakable mind always rises, not because it's fearless, but because it refuses to let fear make decisions. Resilience is not the absence of weakness. It's the decision to keep fighting in spite of it. Each setback becomes a lesson, each failure a foundation, each wound a reminder that survival itself is proof of power. You cannot break a person who has learned that pain is just a message, not a verdict. The authors say that an unbreakable mind doesn't resist the weight of the world. It learns to lift it. Strength is not built from avoiding pressure, but from adapting to it until it feels like second nature. Every time life bends you, it teaches flexibility, and flexibility is a hidden form of strength. The unbreakable mind doesn't seek an easier path. It becomes the path that others follow. To train your mind to this level, you must stop running from the hard things and start mastering them until they no longer scare you. The road to becoming unbreakable begins when you stop expecting fairness from the world. Life is not a reward system. It is a training ground, and the harder it gets, the more potential it's revealing inside you. The authors emphasize that struggle is not the signal to stop, but the invitation to evolve. Every person who has achieved greatness began by being underestimated, rejected, or ignored, yet they kept showing up anyway. The unbreakable mind doesn't measure success by approval. It measures it by consistency under pressure. When others stop because no one is watching, the unbreakable keep going because they're not performing, they're practicing purpose. The pain that once paralyzed them becomes the very proof of progress. They understand that the world doesn't owe them ease, but they owe themselves effort. Strength is built when you do what you must, not just what you like. The authors write that hardship is not cruelty, it's calibration, aligning you with the version of yourself that's strong enough for what's coming. The moment you stop asking, "Why me?" and start. Saying, "Try me," is the moment you cross into unbreakable territory. The world cannot defeat someone who has accepted that struggle as part of success. An unbreakable mind is fueled by relentless perspective. It sees opportunity where others see opposition and turns obstacles into instruction. The authors teach that mindset is not about denying reality, but about deciding how to interpret it. You can either see yourself as a victim of circumstance or the architect of resilience, but never both. The mind you train daily becomes the filter that shapes your entire world. When your thoughts grow stronger, your life follows suit, because reality always mirrors belief. The unbreakable person knows that pain is temporary, but quitting is forever, and that every struggle endured adds invisible layers of armor. When you stay faithful through difficulty, life starts to trust you with bigger missions. Hard times are not signs that you're failing. They're signals that you're being stretched for something greater. The authors explain that pressure always precedes promotion. You can't rise without resistance. The mind that refuses to give up eventually makes giving up impossible. Every day that you keep moving forward, no matter how small the step, you're proving that strength is not in perfection, but in persistence. But remember, the unbreakable mind is not built through toughness alone. It's forged through self-awareness and grace. You cannot become unstoppable if you're at war with yourself. The strongest people are gentle with their own humanity, understanding that compassion and power are partners, not opposites. Forgiving yourself for your past mistakes doesn't weaken your resolve. It clears the emotional debris that blocks your progress. The authors remind you that resilience without reflection leads to burnout, but resilience with self-respect leads to mastery. Strength requires softness in the right places, patience when plans fail, humility when victory comes, and kindness when pain lingers. The mind that never gives up doesn't bully itself into progress. It encourages itself into excellence. The way you speak to yourself determines how much pressure you can bear. When your inner voice becomes your ally, your external world becomes your playground. You cannot break someone who has learned to love themselves through failure. The unbreakable mind doesn't just survive storms. It learns to dance in them with gratitude. Finally, the authors conclude that the mind trained to never give up becomes a beacon for others. When you master your mental endurance, you stop inspiring through words and start inspiring through example. People will see your calm in chaos, your focus in frustration, and your faith in failure, and they will want to know your secret. But your secret won't be luck, talent, or timing. It will be training. The hours you spent in silence, the choices you made in doubt, and the pain you endured without complaint will become the quiet foundation of your greatness. The unbreakable mind doesn't shout success, it radiates it. It doesn't need applause because discipline is its satisfaction. Every time you rise, you give others permission to rise too. That is how strength multiplies, not by being loud, but by being consistent, grounded, and resilient. You are proof that impossible is just a word used by those who stopped trying. When you train your mind long enough, giving up stops being a habit and starts feeling unnatural. You don't wait for the world to notice your progress. You build it until the world can't ignore it. That is the legacy of the unbreakable. Thank you for listening to Train Your Mind to Never Give Up, an audiobook created to remind you that discipline is destiny, persistence is power, and resilience is your greatest resource. The purpose of this journey was not to make you fearless, but to teach you how to move forward even when fear whispers loudly. You've learned that pain is not punishment, but preparation, that consistency is not confinement but freedom, and that belief is not hope, it's evidence of strength. The unbreakable mind is built one decision at a time, one discipline at a time, one act of courage at a time. From this day forward, let your thoughts serve your purpose, your focus feed your faith, and your patience protect your progress. Remember, you don't need to be perfect, you just need to keep going. The Mind you train today will carry you through storms you haven't even seen yet. So rise each morning with discipline, end each day with gratitude, and carry your mission quietly, knowing that strength speaks loudest through consistency. If this audiobook moved you, please subscribe, like, comment, and share it, because when one person learns not to give up, they give others permission to do the same. Keep showing up, keep believing, and keep becoming, because you were never meant to quit. You were meant to conquer.